What would you do if you could wake up every day knowing that your money is working for you, while you live without worrying about the future? Imagine the freedom of not having to depend on a salary, without having to make sacrifices or wait for luck. This is not a dream. It is the power of a smart financial strategy. This audio will guide you through the essential steps to transform your financial situation. Take full control of your money and make it grow, so you not only survive, but thrive. The difference between the life you dream and the life you have is in the decisions you make now. The relentless pursuit of wealth, the need to reach for the unattainable, is nothing new. Since ancient times, humanity has felt the pressure to achieve more comfort, more security, more freedom. But this constant quest for what seems beyond our reach is often clouded by the belief that only a fortunate few have access to the secrets of success, those that seem to belong only to the chosen ones. This feeling of frustration arises because we are programmed to think that success is the result of a game of chance, a game where not everyone holds the same cards. However, this distorted view ignores a fundamental truth. Access to knowledge and the ability to understand how the modern world really works can radically change our perspective, and, therefore, our lives. We are raised on the premise that hard work is the only path to success. From a young age, we are taught that he who works hard earns hard. And while this premise has value in some respects, it is not enough in a world that no longer follows the same rules as before. What we are not told is that, although perseverance and effort are necessary, true success now depends more on how we take advantage of the time, resources, and opportunities that come our way. In such an interconnected and dynamic economic system, constant physical labor is not the only path to prosperity. What is gaining prominence is the ability to manage our resources, to understand the financial environment, and to know what to do with the opportunities that are often hidden. It is interesting how wealthy people think about money. They don't see it as something to be accumulated just by working longer hours, but as something that can multiply when you take control of its flow. While many cling to the idea that success comes only through constant effort, those who are financially minded understand that money must work for you. This doesn't refer only to top executives or big businessmen. In fact, many people who have managed to accumulate wealth have done so because of their ability to invest in assets that generate passive income, such as property, stocks, or businesses that operate on their own. This change in mindset is the real key to achieving a prosperous life. It's not a matter of having more money, but knowing how to use it wisely. The difference between those who manage to accumulate generational wealth and those who are stuck in the daily grind is, in many cases, access to financial education from an early age. People who grow up in an environment of wealth have a fundamental advantage, as they are not only surrounded by resources, but also by knowledge that allows them to make informed decisions about their finances. This education goes beyond what is taught in traditional schools. It is practical knowledge on how to negotiate, how to avoid fiscal mistakes that can wreck a business, how to select profitable investments, among others. This education is not just for the privileged few. The good news is that today, more than ever, it is within everyone's reach. Thanks to the digital era, we can access a vast amount of educational resources. With just one click, we have access to books, courses, podcasts, and seminars that teach us about personal finance, investing, and economic principles that seem to be reserved only for the elite. The problem lies not in the lack of opportunities, but in our ability to recognize them, and above all, the willingness to learn how to take advantage of them. Education is the bridge between where we are and where we want to be, but this bridge is not automatic. It requires time, dedication, and above all, action. It is essential to understand that money is not an end in itself, but a tool to achieve our goals. The key to changing our financial situation lies not only in working harder, but in working smarter. When we learn to manage money, to invest, and to understand the dynamics of the economic system, we are opening new doors to a future where success is no longer reserved only for the few, but within the reach of all those who are willing to take charge of their financial education. And this is the first step towards a life in which abundance is not measured by what we accumulate, but by what we are able to create and share. Throughout history, humanity has been trapped in the idea that wealth is something reserved for the few, a mystery that can only be unlocked through unattainable effort or extreme sacrifice. From the medieval alchemists who sought to transform base metals into gold, to the stories of people who accumulate fortunes through hard work, we have all shared this perception that wealth is something distant, almost mystical. However, as society progresses, we discover that the true engine of abundance is not so much in physical labor, but in something deeper, our mindset and the strategic decisions we make. True wealth, far from being a fluke, is a direct result of the way we relate to money and, above all, to ourselves. One of the most persistent myths is the belief that working longer hours will lead us to earn more money. This notion is deeply rooted in our culture, as we are taught from a young age to associate physical effort with reward. However, those who have achieved high levels of prosperity show us that it is not about the amount of time we invest, but how we manage our time and resources. Entrepreneurially and financially minded people understand that hard work is not enough. We need to make the money work for us. Instead of simply working longer hours, they look for smart ways to multiply their wealth by investing in real estate, stocks, or businesses that generate passive income. This is what differentiates them from those who are stuck in a routine of constant effort without seeing tangible long-term results. The entrepreneurial mindset goes beyond simply saving or spending. It is a mindset that transforms resources into something greater. Wealthy people understand that their income is not limited to what they earn from their work. Often, their money becomes self-contained, growing on its own, in the form of income-producing properties or investments that appreciate in value over time. But, as we mentioned earlier, the most valuable investment is not necessarily the financial one, but the one we make in ourselves. When we invest in our knowledge, in our skills, and in our health, we are ensuring that, regardless of external circumstances, we will be able to adapt and take advantage of the opportunities that arise. This is true wealth, the ability to learn, grow, and adapt. On this path, it is crucial to learn to discern what is truly valuable. Today we live in a world saturated with social pressures that encourage us to spend to impress. Social media constantly shows us a seemingly perfect lifestyle, full of luxuries and expensive items. However, spending money to fit an image or to satisfy other people's expectations is not only unsustainable, but also takes us away from what really matters. True wealth is not measured by the objects we display, but by the smart choices we make quietly, away from the superficial glitz. Overspending to show a life that is not our own only brings us closer to economic and emotional emptiness. Instead, investing in what really builds our future, such as education, investments, or even quality time with loved ones, brings us closer to the kind of wealth that really matters. Finally, one aspect that is often overlooked is the power of relationships. While not all of us are born into privileged environments, social relationships play a critical role in success. Wealthy families have been able to build support networks over generations, giving them access to opportunities that are not available to everyone. But this does not mean that the rest of us are doomed to live without the possibility of generating our own networks. In fact, every interaction, every contact, has the potential to open new doors. We don't need to belong to a millionaire dynasty to take advantage of the opportunities that arise through the people we meet. Sometimes it is the humblest and closest connections that have a transformative impact on our lives. All of the above brings us to a profound understanding. Money is not just a matter of hard work or luck. It is, above all, a reflection of how we think about it, how we manage it, and how we relate to others. The key to stop seeing wealth as unattainable lies in becoming aware of these truths and making informed, strategic decisions. In doing so, we not only begin to see money as a powerful tool, but also to build a future in which opportunities are not just presented to a few, but are created for all those who are willing to take charge of their financial lives. How many times have you heard advice that seems to be the perfect formula for financial success, but that deep down, you know, has no substance? That doesn't align with reality. That advice that suggests that making small sacrifices, like giving up buying a cup of coffee every morning, will lead you to wealth. This idea, while appealing in its simplicity, is far from effective. That cup of coffee is not just a small indulgence, but a ritual that can be key to starting the day with energy and focus. And, as for changing careers abruptly, without reflecting on all that it entails, it is a strategy that will not necessarily bring good results for everyone. The key is not to make trivial sacrifices, but to learn to work smarter, not harder. In this process of growth and advancement, the first thing we must understand is that success is not found in sacrifice for sacrifice's sake, but in working in alignment with our authenticity and our capabilities. If you want to advance, it is crucial that you identify what you truly value and how that translates into what you can offer. Your skills are not just tools to perform a job, they are valuable assets. Every step in your career path, every experience, even those jobs that appear to be just stepping stones, are actually an accumulation of learning that combine to create a unique profile. Think about how the various experiences in your work life can provide a strategic advantage. If, for example, you've worked in a pharmacy and then trained in law to end up in a law firm, you're not just changing jobs, you're building a knowledge base that allows you to have a different, richer perspective on legal claims in the pharmaceutical field. That's your unique advantage. Why not take full advantage of it? In the end, it is this kind of perspective, which only you can offer, that can make the difference between average and extraordinary success. This concept brings us to another fundamental pillar of success: connections. Don't underestimate the power of professional relationships. Often it's not just the work you do, but the people you connect with and how those connections can open new doors. Building a strong network of contacts, of genuine and respectful relationships, is a key factor that is often overlooked. Although being a good worker is fundamental, being visible, generating a network of people who recognize your talent and accomplishments can be what really catapults you into new opportunities. The reality is that opportunities often do not present themselves by chance, but thanks to the connections we have cultivated over time. Investing in your network of relationships is, therefore, as crucial as investing in your skills. Now, imagine for a moment that you could be earning more money doing the same thing. Have you ever considered that you could be earning more just by improving your negotiating skills? Consider this scenario. One day you are offered an opportunity to earn $2,000 in just 2 hours of work. These types of negotiations are not just about how much you work, but how you manage your negotiation skills and how you position yourself in your workplace. The difference in income between two people with the same job can be abysmal, depending on your ability to negotiate. If you are confident that you have demonstrated valuable results and that your work contributes significantly to the company's success, don't hesitate to ask for what you truly deserve. Companies, like people, seek the best for themselves. And you should be looking for what's best for you too. When the time comes to ask for a raise or a promotion, don't be afraid to do so. The truth is, you won't be the first person to make this request, and you won't surprise your boss if you do it in a professional and reasoned manner. The important thing is that you can clearly and objectively present the accomplishments you have achieved, how you have contributed to the success of the company, and how those accomplishments translate into the value you bring. If your boss doesn't respond as you expected, don't be discouraged. It may be time to consider other opportunities where your value is recognized and better compensated. In the end, your career depends on how you manage your personal value, how you communicate it, and, above all, your ability to negotiate intelligently and strategically. Because in the end, success is not only about what you do, but how you do it and how you position it in the labor market. Imagine for a moment that your money is like a spaceship, traveling through the vast universe of your finances. Without a clear and precise plan, it's easy for this ship to get lost in the void, trapped in a black hole that devours your every effort. The idea of budgeting may seem like a restrictive or even intimidating concept. However, what many people fail to see is that budgeting is not a constraint, but rather a powerful tool that gives you control over your financial future. It's not about giving up what you enjoy, but about creating a clear path to your goals, giving you the confidence that you can fulfill your dreams, and most importantly, saving for the long-term goals that really matter. The first thing to understand is that there is no one right way to budget. What works for one person may not be right for another. The key is to experiment and find the method that best suits your needs. Knowing how much you actually earn after taxes is critical, and from there, selecting the system that helps you manage that money efficiently with vision and purpose. Budgeting is not just a calculation. It is an opportunity to take control of your financial life and ensure that the money you work so hard to earn is being used in the most effective way. One of the most popular methods is the 50-30-20 approach, which divides your income into three essential parts: 50% for your basic needs, such as rent, food, and insurance; 30% for your wants, which include dining, entertainment, or travel; and 20% for saving, investing, and paying down debt. This approach has the advantage of being simple and clear, and provides a balanced view of how to allocate your resources. However, it goes beyond a simple mathematical division. It is a reminder that our finances are not just numbers, but decisions that reflect our priorities and what we value in life. This system helps you keep your focus on what is essential, while allowing you to enjoy the little things that make life richer. On the other hand, zero-based budgeting is a more rigorous approach, where every penny of your income has a clear purpose. In this system, you allocate your money strategically, covering all your expenses, savings, and debts. It is ideal for people with irregular income, as it forces you to plan every expense, leaving nothing to chance. Although it may seem more challenging, this approach keeps you alert and disciplined, avoiding impulsive spending that often diverts us from our financial goals. In a world full of temptations and bargains, zero-based allows you to put what really matters first: control over your finances and well-being. If you're someone who tends to spend more than you should, reverse budgeting may be the key to regaining your financial discipline. In this system, you allocate a significant portion of your income, such as half or more, to investments and savings, before you think about any other expenses. This method forces you to prioritize your financial goals and recognize that if you don't save first, you may never get there. This strategy not only ensures that your future is protected, but it teaches you to be more conscious of your spending decisions. It's a constant reminder that true luxury is not in consuming for the sake of consuming, but in investing in what will truly give you freedom in the long run. For those who receive 2 payments a month, budgeting half of the payments is an excellent strategy to stay organized without feeling constrained. You use half of your first paycheck to cover your immediate needs, such as rent, and live on the rest. Then, with the second payment, you cover the remainder and any additional expenses. This strategy allows you to get organized without the stress of a rigid budget, and most importantly, it leaves room to save without sacrificing what you really need. Now, if you have debt, it's crucial to tackle it strategically, and how you choose to do so can have a big impact on your financial well-being. One of the most effective methods is snowballing, where you organize your debts from the smallest to the largest and pay the minimum on all but the smallest, to which you devote all your efforts. The feeling of eliminating the smallest debts first can generate a motivational boost, which will keep you focused on the process. Each debt paid off becomes a reminder of your progress, which encourages you to keep going. Debt avalanche, on the other hand, focuses on long-term savings. Here, instead of focusing on smaller debts, you sort your debts by interest rate and prioritize the one with the highest interest. This can be more efficient in the long run, as you pay less in interest, allowing your money to work harder for you. Each strategy has its advantages, and the key is to choose the one that helps you move most effectively toward financial freedom. With proper planning, any debt can be managed, and so can your finances in general. The key is to know your needs and wants well, and choose the budgeting system that best suits your lifestyle. This will give you the confidence to plan for the future with confidence, even when circumstances seem uncertain. Remember, it's not just about how much you save, but how you manage every aspect of your finances to ensure that your spaceship, your money, keeps moving forward into a bright, opportunity-filled future. What would you do if you suddenly had money left over after covering all your monthly expenses? That's a question that, while at first seems to have a simple answer, actually opens the door to a world of possibilities. You might think of a trip, a luxury item, or perhaps the opportunity to invest in something that will really make you grow. However, the key to how to tap into that surplus is not just in spending it, but in making it work for you. That's where investments come in. The word investing may sound intimidating at first, and many fear that it involves gigantic risks or devastating losses. But in reality, investing is one of the smartest and most effective ways to increase your wealth without the need to work longer hours or make extreme sacrifices. First and foremost, when considering investing, is the security that having a financial cushion provides. This emergency fund is not only an insurance against unforeseen events, but also a base that provides stability. Even if you are not facing a crisis right now, knowing that you have a safety cushion allows you to live with a greater sense of control and freedom. Life, as we all know, is unpredictable. A well-structured emergency fund allows you to face those difficult times without feeling trapped. By having some of your money working for you, that first step toward financial independence becomes an essential building block for a calmer, more resilient life. The world of investing can seem like a vast ocean, full of tempting options, but also of unknown risks. Risk is an inherent part of any type of investment. Throughout history, we have learned that risk, when managed intelligently, can be a powerful force for growth. However, not all of us are willing to dive into deep water. If risk doesn't intimidate you, perhaps you could explore markets such as cryptocurrencies, futures, or collectibles, which often offer the potential for quick gains. However, it's important to remember that these markets are highly volatile, meaning that while the potential for gains is high, so is the risk of losses. On the other hand, if you're looking for a safer balance, there are more stable and predictable alternatives, such as mutual funds, stocks of established companies, high-yield bonds, or real estate. These options tend to be less risky, and if managed correctly, can guarantee you a more secure and balanced financial future. If you prefer a more conservative investment that offers greater stability and lower risk, options such as government bonds, money market funds, or time deposits may be the right choice. While these investments do not offer the possibility of explosive gains, they are solid and reliable options for those seeking security and peace of mind in their finances. The key here is that these investments provide more than just money. They offer invaluable peace of mind for those who prefer a more stable and less uncertain path. One of the most common mistakes when investing is getting carried away with the illusion of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Sometimes cryptocurrencies or certain high-risk investments may appear to be the answer to all of our financial problems. But it is essential to remember that the true value of an investment lies not in its apparent quick profit potential, but in how it aligns with your overall financial strategy. You should never compromise the essentials of your life, your physical and mental well-being, in the pursuit of a quick profit. The best investment should not jeopardize your quality of life. The key is to always maintain a balance, to know your limits, and not to compromise what is truly important by following a path that only appears to be promising in the short term. If you are in debt, the temptation to invest immediately may be great, but it is crucial that you first assess your overall financial situation. The wealthy, for example, focus not only on accumulating money, but on how wisely they manage their debts. They understand the concept of delta, which refers to the difference between the cost of debt and the potential return on investments. If the delta is positive, that is, if your ability to generate investment income exceeds the cost of debt, then it is a good time to invest. If not, it is better to take some time to reorganize your financial strategy. Pay down your debts and strengthen your situation before committing to new investments. This strategic approach, which goes beyond the urgency of immediate action, is fundamental to achieving sustainable and lasting financial growth. In addition, we must not forget the incentives that many countries offer investors. Favorable tax programs, bonuses for opening savings and investment accounts, and other tax benefits can be an excellent way to maximize the return on your savings without taking on additional risk. Researching and understanding the tax options available in your country and seeking the help of a financial advisor if necessary can provide you with a significant advantage when making investment decisions. Sometimes knowledge about the tax advantages available is the key to higher returns without exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. Finally, never lose sight of the importance of being clear about your financial goals. Knowing what you really want to achieve and in what time frame is essential to making sound investment decisions. The more time you have for your investment to grow, the more willing you will be to take certain risks, because time can be a great ally in the investment world. On the other hand, if you need the funds in the short term, it is wiser to opt for more conservative options that provide security and stability. The investment process is not only about seeking quick profits, but also about building a solid path towards the future, always adapted to your personal needs and objectives. No matter how much you enjoy your work, there will inevitably come a time when you will face a reality that, although often ignored, it is essential to plan for. At some point, you will have to stop working. Sometimes we don't notice it right away, but the signs begin to subtly appear. Conversations about retirement become more present in your mind, and along with them, uncertainty arises about how to manage your finances when you're no longer actively generating income. The thought of relying on less income due to inflation or economic downturns can be frightening, but the truth is that it's never too late to take action and prepare for the future. If you didn't start planning years ago, the second best time to do so is now, and the important thing is to make that decision today. The key to achieving financial independence and perhaps an early retirement, the concept known as FIRE, financially independent, retired early indus, is to be clear about how much money you really need to support yourself when you're no longer working. This calculation, which may seem daunting or uncertain, is much simpler than it sounds. If, for example, your annual expenses are $100,000 and you project a return on your investments of 5% per year, with this basic formula you can begin to better understand what you need. You divide your annual expenses by the estimated percentage return. This gives you a concrete target, a number you can work with, that allows you to move forward with a clearer vision of the future. Of course, this calculation can't predict every obstacle that may come up along the way, but at least it gives you a solid starting point. However, beyond simply knowing how much you need, the real challenge lies in how to build that financial base and adapt it to the changes that inevitably come your way. It is essential to remember that this calculation should not be the only basis for your planning. The economy is constantly changing, and so are our needs. You may decide at some point that you don't want to retire early, or even that you prefer to continue generating income in some way, but having the option to do so without the fear of running out of resources is an invaluable advantage. Formal jobs usually offer certain retirement benefits, such as insurance and pensions, but these benefits are sometimes not enough to guarantee the quality of life you want once you stop working. For this reason, it is always useful to save extra, create alternative sources of income, and plan flexibly to cover unforeseen events that may arise in the future. While early retirement is a common goal for many people, do not stop to think about how they will manage their money when the time comes to stop working. In an increasingly complex financial system, it is critical to be aware of the different options that exist for managing available money. Although cash is still an easy option for small everyday expenses, such as a coffee or a pack of gum, its great disadvantage is that it can be easily lost, or worse, stolen without you even realizing it. This is where more secure payment methods come into play. Debit cards, for example, offer more security in terms of protecting your available balance, but if the card is not quickly blocked in case of loss, you could lose your entire account on the spot. The credit card, on the other hand, has distinct advantages, such as the ability to pay with money that is not yours, but it also gives you the opportunity to build a positive credit history. This history is crucial if you want to make larger purchases in the future, such as buying a house or a car, as it gives you access to better interest rates and more favorable financial conditions. In the end, how you decide to manage your money will depend on your long-term goals. However, the key thing to understand is that the basic principle remains the same. Save and make your money work for you, not just spend. Financial preparation should not be seen as a burden or a sacrifice, but as a strategy to give you freedom and peace of mind in the years to come. When you have control over your money, you not only secure your future, but also give yourself the ability to live with greater confidence, knowing that money is not an obstacle, but a tool that works in your favor. Financial planning for your future is not a simple task, but it is one of the most powerful decisions you can make, not only for yourself, but also for future generations. Money is more than just an exchange of value. It is the engine that drives societies and makes them evolve. Since the dawn of humanity, people have sought ways to secure their financial well-being, a desire that remains completely natural today. It is deeply human to want to find financial stability. And although circumstances vary, there is always the possibility of approaching our financial goals with the right strategy. What's really important is to understand that the secret to achieving that stability lies not just in making money, but in how we manage our finances, and more crucially, how we make money grow wisely. One of the first fundamental steps in moving forward on this path is budgeting. Although many see it as a boring or tedious task, Keeping detailed track of your income and expenses is essential to having full control over your money. This practice allows you to not only see where every penny is going, but also to identify areas where you could optimize or reduce expenses. It's like having a compass to guide you in the ocean of your personal finances. Whether you choose to write everything down by hand, use a spreadsheet, or a financial app, what matters is the visibility and clarity of your spending habits. By reviewing your finances on a regular basis, you'll be able to evaluate your spending patterns and look for ways to improve. Here, the goal is not just to save, but to save efficiently, turning every spending decision into an opportunity to improve your financial health. In addition to personal planning, it is important to be aware of opportunities available in your community or country. Many times, government programs or local initiatives offer rebates, tax breaks, grants, or even incentives to invest that can make a big difference. These benefits are not always obvious or well publicized, so taking the time to research them can be a great way to optimize your finances, save money, or find investment opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Financial information is not always easily or clearly presented, so keeping an eye out for news and changes in the local economy can give you advantages that, if not taken advantage of, could cost you a lot in the long run. Another crucial aspect of improving your financial management is the advice of more experienced people. While financial advisors and accountants are critical to making informed decisions and optimizing your situation, the experiences of people who have been through what you are going through can offer invaluable insight. Stories of friends, family, or acquaintances who have achieved financial success through investing, saving, or efficient management can be far more motivating and applicable to your daily life than any abstract financial theory. Hearing how others have overcome financial challenges or taken advantage of certain opportunities can give you concrete and practical ideas that you may not have considered. Practical, real-world advice tailored to your environment can be far more effective than any generic advice. Finally, it is crucial to remember that money is only a powerful tool if you know how to use it. Having control over your finances is the first step to making smart decisions that allow you to make your money work for you. It's not just about earning more, it's about managing what you have efficiently, making strategic decisions about how to allocate it, learning to invest, save, spend wisely, and generate new sources of income will not only increase your financial well-being, but will also give you the peace of mind of knowing that you are building a solid and secure future. The key is active management, how you take control of your money, how you take advantage of opportunities, and most importantly, how you adapt to changes that arise throughout your life. Only through wise and strategic money management can you ensure that you not only survive financially, but actually thrive. Now that you have the tools and knowledge to transform your financial future, the key is to take the first step. No matter where you are today, what really matters is what you decide to do now. You have the power to take control of your money, to make it grow, and to live with a financial freedom that many only dream of. Change starts with your decision, and that change is at your fingertips. So what are you going to do today to get closer to the life you want? Don't wait any longer. Take action, invest in your future, and start making smart decisions to ensure your well-being. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with those who could also benefit, and leave your comments. Your opinion is valuable, and I want to know what you think. Thank you sincerely for taking the time to listen to this message. I am honored that you have invested your attention in something that can change your life. See you next time.